Hey everybody, and welcome to the Holotapes Weekly Podcast, where we talk about Fallout, because everybody loves Fallout, and we all know that we love Fallout, and you love Fallout too. So let's get started. I'm your host, Jordan, always the greatest person in the world. I'm joined here today by Lucas, our tech god.
Yo.
And Jordan, my co-host and cohort and co-conspirator in murder.
Hello.
And our guest, Monty.
What's up?
All right, Monty's got a head cold, so he's not feeling good. Hugs for Monty.
That was my
We're
head
not,
that just
so
caught.
we don't get sick.
So how's everybody doing?
Fucking peachy.
Fucking peachy. Is that like peach schnapps? Did everybody have a good, what's it called, New Year's?
From what I remember, yes.
All right.
From what I remember.
All right, well, today's Weekly Dollar is cancer research, so find a good charity. Do not donate to Susan G. Komen at all. Just don't do it. Look up all the research that's done into that company. Just don't do it. Donate somewhere else. Donate somewhere where your money's actually going to go somewhere. So, yeah, there's plenty of other breast cancer research centers out there that need some money too. But, you know, everybody's affected by cancer. We just had a relatively famous actor die in the U.S. here of brain cancer here. We've had lots of actors and actresses in 2014 pass away from breast cancer. 2014 was the year that Angelina Jolie had a mastectomy because she found she had the gene for breast cancer. And that was just terrible. And, you know, she's very, very strong for doing that and sets a good example for a lot of other women that you can't be afraid of chopping off some parts in order to give yourself a better life. So, you know, shout out to her. Give out to a great cause that is for charity, that is cancer. Words are coming out of my mouth. Give out to a good cancer research place. Just do it. Keep the word out there. Let's beat it. Beat the black terror that is cancer. So, moving on to happier notes. We have some fan questions. Are you guys ready?
Woo. Let's hear it, fans.
Yeah, we actually have fans. Can you believe it? Somewhere in this world, people are actually
Fans,
watching.
like plural.
Yeah, like more than one. It's more than one guy.
That's fucking awesome.
I know,
It's
right?
not just us listening to it over and over and over again.
Yeah. Brendy Rose on Twitter writes, "Hey, Holotapes Weekly, what's something you want in a Fallout game, but you're pretty sure Bethesda would never add it? Go."
Ooh.
If you say motorcycles or any type of vehicle, I'm gonna kill you, Monty.
Oh, shit. Oh, that was number one. But I guess number two would be some sort of playable race, like super mutants and ghouls and such like that.
That would be so complicated, though.
Yeah, I know.
I mean,
Or
they already do.
Deathclaws, that'd be cool.
I don't want to be an intelligent Deathclaw, first off. That's weird.
That'd be awesome.
Well, like,
You wouldn't
how,
need a weapon.
how would that affect the plot?
Exactly.
Like, just imagine playing 3 as an intelligent Deathclaw.
Here's the thing, though, is that there are only 3 races that I can think of off the top of my head that would actually work for that, and they have to be humanoid. So android, ghoul, and human would be the only ones that really work. Super mutant, Deathclaw, etc. would throw off the plot way too much, and it'd be a hassle to do like clothing modeling for those things. Yeah.
Well, something else that I want to add is I mean, Bethesda might be doing it if some rumors are true, but a playable, I mean, not playable, fuck. I mean, protagonist that talks.
Really?
Like,
Oh yeah,
Well, I don't
heard
know. I
that.
think it'd be a
yeah,
cool
there's a
option.
rumor going around that they're looking for a voice actor for 4.
Yeah.
yeah, that was the Kotaku leaks.
First off, one, I was surprised that you actually wanted that too. I thought that leak was proven to be untrue.
No, that leak wasn't proven to be untrue. I mean, the Kotaku writer still says it's true, so I mean, no one's been able to prove it wrong.
Well, I don't like my characters to have a voice specifically because I like to be able to have them be an open canvas, a blank canvas on which I can paint, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean that's why, you know, like for the fans like you, for your sake, I hope it would just be an option. Like you could turn it off if you want.
Oh, that'd be cool. That would be cool.
I think that would be cool. Because I mean, it's a lot harder to tell a story and get involved in the character when he doesn't talk or she doesn't talk. I mean, it's just harder to make a compelling story.
I don't know that that's true. Even like mechanically mute characters in games do pretty well.
Gordon Freeman.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. All right, Jordan, what about you?
I could be the jerk who says a good plot, but I'm not going to be. I'm not sure. I can't really think of anything that Bethesda wouldn't really do straight out.
They would definitely be open to those things. Bethesda likes to push the boundaries and such.
Yeah.
Innovate.
And a lot of things that people want for upcoming Fallout games have a lot to do with what they've already done in the Elder Scrolls games. Playable races,
right.
Things like that. Lucas, what about you?
See, mine kind of refers to what you said about people wanting to see stuff that was featured in the Elder Scrolls series. Mine's a small, tiny thing, but I want to be able to have dreadlocks or braids on my character.
Yes.
The hairstyles were kind of lacking just a little.
Well, there's a that could do that.
I think that in general, people want better character creation for Fallout.
Yes.
There was such great character creation for Skyrim, but there really wasn't in any of the Fallout games. So hopefully we're going to see that coming up. So personally, my desire is I want a world. So I don't know if you guys have ever played, what was it, Daggerfall, which is like the biggest game that was ever created. I want. Okay, well, it was literally the biggest game that was ever created.
Just Cause 3 stand up.
Pardon?
Or Just Cause 2, I mean. That's probably the biggest game ever.
Just Cause is up there too. So is Fuel, but Daggerfall was like the largest game ever created. I want them to create a world so big that it will take me years to go across the entire thing.
No.
If they were to tell me right now that I have to wait 10 years, but I get a game that big, I will absolutely wait.
I would say they are absolutely crazy because if you make a world that big, it's just gonna be the same shit over and over again. It's just gonna be like New Vegas.
Because think of the time that's put into it. You'll have enough time to actually put in worthy content.
Yeah,
but you're talking hypotheticals like, if Bethesda took 10 years to make this game,
there's no way that
2020, then yeah, I would expect that.
Okay, all right. More realistically, a game that's larger than Skyrim. Boom, there. Happy?
Well, I mean, part of me wants it to be this big game, like the whole state of Massachusetts or something. Like, but then you think like if it's just Skyrim size, with all they put into Skyrim, if they just put that much more detail into the next Fallout instead of just making it huge, area-wise, I mean, that's even better.
Here's my thing, Monty. I want a lot of places to explore. I want to be able to sink 200 hours into one playthrough.
You can do that already, depending how you play.
Depending on how you play, yeah. But, I mean, realistically, I want to be able to sink 200 hours into it.
I don't think I have a Fallout or Skyrim playthrough without 200 hours in it.
You must do a lot of exploring, that's all I gotta say.
Yeah, I just go really slow.
I have a tendency to go fast through exploring, but slow through quests.
I just never sprint, I just walk.
I don't understand that, but I'm going to keep on going. That's what I was thinking. Next question. Jonathan Ricci. Hey, buddy. Hi. This is the guy from Canada.
Hey, you said his name right.
Ricci boy. Yeah, okay.
Doesn't tell you how to tell us how to say your last name.
He asks, what are our favorite quests in... He says either game, but I'm going to go all 4 games. Or all 5 canon games, story side or unmarked quest. His are Stealing Independence and Come Fly With Me.
I also really like Come Fly With Me, yeah.
Why do you like Come Fly With Me?
I don't know. I think it's funny-ish.
Is it just the story?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Come Fly With Me was kind of like New Vegas's like Megaton thing about blowing it up. Like that was the big thing of Fallout 3. And in New Vegas, the big thing is launching the rockets to who knows where. So I mean, I think they put the most time into that quest besides from the main story quest.
Debatable.
Possibly that's debatable, but I mean, I think it's one of the most memorable quests you do in New Vegas.
It is definitely one of the most memorable. I don't know. I just didn't like it because I constantly had to go in and out of that building, and there was like 4 loading
Yeah.
screens.
I mean, I kind of hated the building. I hated the building too.
Mm.
But I mean, it was kind of scary at the same time for me with, the Nightkins in the basement. That was another good
Yeah.
part of the story. I mean, it was just pretty layered, and then you could end it, however you wanted. You could, make it so they get where they're going by having, high repair and the intelligence, or
Science.
just crash them into the ground. It was a quest that felt, like it was a whole quest. You know what I'm saying?
All right, Monty, what's your favorite quest?
Well, I mean, that's one of my favorite quests. I mean, I'm gonna say one from Fallout 1, from the original Fallouts, and one from the new Fallouts. My one from the new or the old Fallouts is not sure what it's called, but you go to what's it called, the Junktown, and you go into the general store and meet the owner, and he tells you that the owner of the casino, Gizmo, this big fat dude, is corrupt, and he's been trying to get him, but he hasn't left enough evidence. So then you go into the casino, Gizmo's casino, and you either sneak the bug onto him to get evidence, or you just kill him there, I think. So I mean, that was just another awesome quest with 2 awesome characters.
The quest is called Get Gizmo's Confession or Stop Gizmo.
Yeah, it was just cool because it felt real authentic. Like, the Gizmo character was, this real fat guy who sounded like he'd been smoking all his life. I mean, it felt good. And then in Fallout 3 and the new Fallouts, I mean, as much as I hate the character, it has to be Wasteland Survival Guide.
Oh, man.
Because that's probably the first, big quest you do when you pop in Fallout 3. And it's just so memorable because you go to so many memorable locations, like the Super Duper Mart.
Yeah.
That's a great scene. Then you go to the War Memorial with all the Mirelurks. That's another great thing. I mean, it just starts the game off on a good note.
I'll agree with that. I will definitely agree with that. Lucas, what about you?
Yeah, I'd probably say the Super Duper Mart mission from the Wasteland Survival Guide. Only that one. It starts to get annoying after that, but for me, because that was like the first quest I did, so it was like the first bit of action I got into. It had me hooked from there. Another one is probably the Big Town one, Big Trouble in Big Town, because I like equipping the survivors with like guns and armor, and but if you're like a high enough level and you have enough stuff, you can give them like assault rifles and combat armor, and stuff that will actually help them. I like being able to do that. It feels like you're kind of influencing your world.
Yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from. I think that one of my personal favorite is probably Restoring Hope, where you have to go and do all those like mini quests to restore Camp Forlorn Hope. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed working with the NCR to do all these little things. I was always sad every single time that I do a Legion playthrough that there aren't that sort of those sort of quests for Legion. But I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching the camp sort of get better and better as you did more of the quests and things like that.
Yeah.
Same kind of thing with you, Lucas. I enjoyed watching them, get better, watching them get equipped with better weapons, things like that.
Yeah, I think another couple quests that really always stick with me and make me laugh are all the quests from Fallout 1 to Fallout 3 with Harold.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Talking tree in Fallout 3. Well, not walking, but the talking tree.
I really hope.
Crazy guy.
Yeah, I really hope that his he finds a way to start moving again, and that his canon ending is that he lives. Because I want to be able to see him in future Fallouts. I want him to just be one of those characters. Eventually, I want there to get like to Fallout 6 and have the entire game revolve around him. I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, that would be pretty funny. But maybe as a descendant of Harold playing as like a walking tree. But I think definitely in the next Fallout, or maybe the one after that, depending where it's set in the timeline, we'll definitely see a continuation of Harold, like whether there's more trees in the wasteland now, or whether he somehow got moving again. I mean, I'm sure there'll be a reference at least.
All right, so next question is from Christopher Carter at the Sarge 1984 on Twitter.
Oh, that's my boy. Shout out Sarge 19.
Seriously? You know him?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, I talk to him on Twitter a lot. He's a homie.
He's from Canada, so I mean that's a thing.
Well, I don't talk to him anymore.
No, I'm just kidding. It says Canada-related question. His Canada-related question is... So let me clarify. He's not actually from Canada. I don't want to make statements about people that aren't true.
Oh,
but
wouldn't be the first time.
Shut up, Monty. Canada-related question, actually. Would Canada make a good setting for a Fallout game? Big space,
Yes.
diverse scenery. No.
What?
You want to fight?
No.
But
All right,
what is there interesting about Canada? I mean,
wanna
like
hear
geography-wise.
No. Jordan, I want to hear your arguments on this, and then I'm gonna tell you exactly where you're wrong.
Oh, man, don't do this. All right, so first of all, while there is pretty much nothing in northern Canada, the lower parts would be
Toronto, Ontario.
Toronto, Ontario. I almost said Nigeria. Niagara. You would see some fallout left over from the annexation.
Yeah.
And, Canada would have
Well, there's
essentially
supposed to be
become
vaults in
part of-
Canada, too.
Yeah, there are vaults in Canada, and I bet you they're really cool.
Bet you Vault 69's up there.
God. This vaults, I can't, okay. But yeah, I think that it would be an interesting place to explore, and it's not, a desert.
Yeah,
Also,
here's
possibly radioactive snow.
Ooh, yeah. Well, here's my take on this real quick. I think just a DLC or expansion in Canada would be nice, but I don't want a full game there. Because, I mean, even though it was annexed near the end of the, time before the Great War, I mean, it still wasn't real Americanized. I mean, it just Fallout, the main games have to be in America. That's just how it is.
There we go. That is, Monty just said exactly what was on my mind. I would love to see a DLC of it. I would love to see, like, a huge DLC of it. I would love it to almost be, like, a side game almost. I don't want it to be a main Fallout game, specifically because Canada has a culture that is different enough from Americans that it would make a difference in how we see things, right? Number one. Number two is that Fallout has always been an American game. This isn't like a hoorah America kind of argument. This is a, look, Fallout takes place in America. Even there have been even official statements that have said things like the U.S. is where Fallout takes place, right? That is why I think. All right. Personal opinion. I don't. Here's the thing. I just don't want to see a full Fallout game in Canada.
Well, it's not even a personal opinion. It's a fact. Fallout is an American game.
It is, and that's
futuristic Americana.
It is. It is.
And I would like to see the effects of them trying to change it to a pro-American Canada.
I would love to see that as well. Yes.
In the timeline, they didn't really have time to do that. It was just all falling apart, and it just kind of happened. It wasn't really this big cultural change. But I mean, I can see where you're coming from.
I'm sorry. What are you talking about? It was a huge cultural change.
Yeah.
Well, no. The annexation of Canada, I think, was a year before the Great War.
No. Well, it officially started a year before the war.
Yeah. So I mean, well, yeah.
But there was like a 20-minute time between. Or 20-day or year time. I'm sorry, between when they started the annexation.
Well, I mean,
what? Okay, here's the thing. People forget that there was an actual war taking place before the bombs fell. There was a lot of time in between when the war started and when the bombs fell.
Yeah, it's 10 years. I'm sorry, not 20. It became one of the territories in 2067. But the Anchorage front line takes place in 2059, and by that time, the U.S. had started putting military presence in Canada.
Well, yeah. I mean, granted that America has a military presence in Canada now.
Well, yeah, but not the kind of military presence that the Fallout universe would have.
All right, well, anyways, I'm going to cut everybody off right here on this Canada conversation because the honest truth is that we're just not going to know anything solid about it. We're not going to know if it's good or bad. And I feel like this is going to devolve into a larger argument. So we're going to keep on moving on. Next fan question comes from Jonathan Chandler on Twitter. He says, hey, Holotapes Weekly, what is your most hated enemy to face in the Wasteland? He says his is personally Cazadors because those things are creepy, tough, and twitchy. So, what do you guys think? Mirelurks. Why?
They're gross looking. They scare the shit out of me, and they always pop up when I'm not expecting it.
Yeah, I can see why that definitely could be an issue. What about you, Lucas?
For me, it's rad scorpions. I just don't like the way they're so quick. They're just annoying, ugly. I just can't stand them. I prefer human or humanoid-like enemies to just all-out animals.
I get it. I think that for me, it's definitely ghost people from the Sierra Madre. You can't kill them unless you what's the word I'm looking for? Dismember. Thank you. Unless you dismember them, and that gets pretty frustrating. Especially when you really don't have a whole lot of guns. Especially when you first start off, you have like nothing except for that stupid hollow rifle, which is decent if you're good with energy weapons, but not that great otherwise. So that's that. Well, we have one more question. Actually, we have two more questions. We have another question that seems to just be going on Twitter right now. Do we have a specific person who said this one, Jordan, about the Europe thing?
About the Europe thing? It's like a bunch of people who are discussing it. So let me tell you.
Okay, well, we have a bunch of people discussing a Europe-based Fallout game. And here's the thing. No. We just talked about the Canada thing. It is an American game. I hate to say it because I'm sure that Fallout would be great in other countries. I'm sure it would be fantastic in a ruined Russia. It would be fantastic in a ruined China. It would be fantastic in Britain, in Germany, in Norway, in fucking Bosnia-Herzegovina, for all I know. But the point is that it's an American game, and I don't think that we can escape that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah?
It would be really interesting to see Europe in the Fallout universe because you basically have the socio-political struggles of the 1960s, and the Soviet Union didn't collapse. So you probably still have a divided Germany, and obviously the USSR is their conglomerate over there, and it would be interesting to see how that played out, but it wouldn't be good for a Fallout game.
Again, I think this is another really good place where DLC would be good. Like I said during the Canada discussion, I am completely fine with the game having DLC that goes to other places, but I think that the majority of the main plot line has to stay in the U.S.
Yeah.
Just because that's the only way to keep the real feeling. I would, like I said, like you said, it would be very, very interesting to see a divided Germany, if it was even still divided, because after the war, it would be interesting to see the USSR. We could get a very 1960s USSR, very militaristic feeling that would also be very, very interesting to explore. But Fallout as a whole is an Americana game, and that's that.
Coming from like an English-based Fallout fan, I couldn't agree more to what you're saying. And I'm the kind of person that would love to see a GTA in the UK and more games set in the UK. But even I can admit Fallout belongs in the US. That's part of the charm of it,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
GTA, completely off topic, but GTA has also been said that they will never make. They have made one game that was outside of the US, but they said that they will never make another game that is outside of the US.
Wait, which game was outside the US?
GTA London, I think it was called.
Yeah.
Something like that.
But didn't they do one in like China as well? GTA 2 or something.
GTA Chinatown Wars was set in the US. But
No, I mean like GTA 2. That was set in the future, wasn't it? But I thought it was like in a futuristic China.
GTA 2. Let's look it up. Grand Theft Auto.
I don't know anything about GTA.
Second major installment. First one have 3D graphics. It takes place in Anywhere City, so it's not.
Oh yeah, my bad.
Yeah, it does kind of look very futuristic though. But I know that they had a GTA London or something along those lines. GTA London. Anyways, but that's another really good example of a game that is very based in one country, and I think that there are quite a few other games that I just can't think of. Here's the thing: I've never seen a game that is that I could call area locked that wasn't in the US. And I would love to see a game where it's like it can only exist in Western Europe. It can only exist in Africa because those are the only places where the setting fits, you know? I would love to see more games like that.
There is, the only one I can think of is The World Ends With You, which was done by Square Enix. And it takes place in Japan, kind of, but, you know.
Yeah. There are some games that I would call Japanese country locked, except for the fact that most Japanese games have a tendency to go into fantasy realms.
Yeah, I mean, I think it takes place in, like, actually takes place in, like, a dream world.
Yeah. So those ones aren't really area locked.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean that's just how it is. And then in the middle of the in the middle of the podcast we got another question. What do you think the main enemy is going to be? I'm assuming it says in Fallout 4 because it's cut off for some reason. I think that we've discussed this before, and I think that we came to the conclusion that we're all still pretty sure that the game is going to take place in Boston, or at least that the maximum amount of evidence from Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas would lead us to believe that it was going to take place in Boston. So I'm still going to say that the Institute is probably going to be the main bad guy, and or the Railroad is going to be the main enemy. Something along those lines.
If those are the correct.
Yes, if we're looking at the correct evidence. There's some other there's some other evidence that it might take place in broken banks. There's some evidence that it's going to take place in happily to you, Jordan, in Canada, in Ronto. There's a little bit of evidence for quite a few places, but I think that the majority of the evidence is pointing us to Boston.
Whoever it is, I hope it's not the Enclave. It better not be the Enclave. I'll be pissed.
Enough Enclave already. Enough Enclave. I would even be happy if there was no Enclave, no Brotherhood of Steel, no Super Mutants. Boom. We will see, though. We will definitely see. But I don't think that we have enough evidence to conclusively say anything about Fallout 4, because I think every single Fallout fan has really realized at this point there's no information out there. So
I do think something's going to pop up this year, though.
I think so.
I damn hope so. Damn hope so.
Fingers crossed.
So the last question comes from Reddit user Cult Films and asks, what is your opinion on the NCR? That's a very interesting question because that is actually the actual topic of today's podcast. However, we'd probably just go over it as a question because we've actually spent a lot of time discussing y'all's questions today, which I enjoy. I love the, communicating with you guys. I love to hear from you guys. And we always try and check our social media as much as possible and get as many questions and things like that. So anything that we missed today, we can go over. But today we'll probably just go over the NCR just a little bit. Maybe we'll keep it as our topic for, well, probably not next week, but we'll probably go over something similar in next week's podcast. So opinions on the NCR. What is it, guys?
I think it is lawful. Lawful neutral.
Are you using that chart?
Yes, I am.
Why do you think it's lawful neutral?
I don't think I'd call them evil.
Why wouldn't you call them good?
I mean, they're a little corrupt.
They're no more corrupt than the current U.S. government.
That's why I said neutral.
No more corrupt than the current British government or the current German government or the current... They're way less corrupt than the current Russian or Chinese government.
That's why I said neutral.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't find them as interesting as other groups in Fallout 3.
Yeah.
In New Vegas, there were other clans and groups that I thought were more interesting than the NCR. I don't know what it is about them, but I had to force myself to get into the story behind them.
Was there even any mention of the NCR in Fallout 3? Maybe one or two, right?
I don't think so.
There was one. Argyle from the Daring Dashwood series mentions the Shady Sands Shuffle.
Oh, yeah.
So there's that. And Shady Sands is the capital of the NCR, so...
Mm-hmm.
So, Lucas, I think that the problem for you, because I know that you haven't played the first two games, is because you haven't played the first two games. You don't really... from Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, you really don't get to see how the NCR was formed and how interesting it is to watch them where they are now in Fallout New Vegas. In Fallout 2, you effectively built the NCR, helping out Erdesh and saving. Erdesh was the first president of the NCR, and you end up saving his daughter, Tandy, who becomes the second president of the NCR. You had a lot to do with the founding of the NCR in the first 5 states, which are Dayglow, Maxton, Shady Sands. I'm screwing that up so badly. I'm close though. I know Maxton and Dayglow are correct, and Shady Sands. I'm missing 2 though.
I haven't beaten the first 2 games.
Have you played them?
I've played them, but I did not beat them.
All right, so the 5 states are Shady Sands, Los Angeles, Maxton, the Hub, and Dayglow.
Yeah, I really need to go back and do my research and play the early ones.
Yeah, I mean they're. I'll definitely say that they're a lot harder to get into.
They're so hard to play.
They are so very, very hard. Just because they're so different from the Bethesda games by a long shot. But they're still very interesting. They're still very, very Fallout-y. I was glad that I started playing them before I got too far into Fallout 3. So
yeah, I did play I think it was Fallout Tactics as a kid. I had the demo of that.
Yeah. But I think that that's something that if you really want to get into Fallout lore, I think that you have to play through the first 3 games. Tactics doesn't have as much, I would say, information as the other 4 main in the series, but definitely still has a lot of good stuff in it. But personally, I love the NCR. I want to see them. I think that they are, even though they try and cling to so many old world values, I think that they have a great understanding of what the new world actually is. And so what they're trying to do is kind of trying to mesh the old and new world together into a better world. And although they're spread a little thin right now, and the events that happened in the Mojave with Caesar's Legion and House have left them kind of weakened, even though we don't know the canon ending for them in the Mojave yet. I want to see their growth. I want to see the further development of it. I want to see them succeed, to be honest. I want to see them being a country in the eyes of the game. I understand that they are sort of a country in the eyes of the game, but I want them to be more so. I want them to be stronger, more solid, I guess. Oh yeah, I don't know if we mentioned this, but Monty left in the middle of our conversation. He had to go because he's had to shut up somewhere else.
Doing something.
He had to shut up somewhere else. That's what we're going to say. But he wasn't feeling well either, so get better, Monty. If you don't, too bad. Continuing on. Where do you guys think that the NCR is going to go from here? From what we've seen in New Vegas, we've seen that they're spread out pretty thin. Let's not talk about what could have happened, what their canon ending in the Mojave is. Let's pretend like we don't know what's happening. Let's talk about beyond that.
Okay. Well, what they should do is probably reel themselves back in, considering how short they are on, well, not short, but how spread out their resources are.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see them go north. I think that would be a good expansion for them.
Yeah, okay. Why north and why not go and take out Caesar's Legion?
Well, like I said, their resources are spread thin. The last thing I'm going to do when I'm starving is start a war. But
I guess I do see your point. Maybe not even moving north. What if they just consolidated what they have?
Yeah.
They effectively control all of California, western Nevada, and even parts of Arizona along the banks of the Colorado. I could absolutely see them sort of just solidifying, working on agriculture, et cetera, and sort of just becoming a more powerful force and then expanding from there. But I think that they definitely need to do that before they do anything else. Man, it just occurred to me how good of, and what do I want to say? It's such a good metaphor for modern day America that the NCR is.
In what way?
They're spread too thin. We have a military hand in just about everything in the world, whether people like it or not. We are kind of corrupt. There's a lot of bad stuff that goes on corruption-wise in the U.S. It's still less than a lot of other countries, but
I mean, we're not Russia, so.
this is yes. Obama did not get 140% of the votes in the last election, so we're definitely not that bad. But and I think that just like within the NCR, there's a lot of kind of backlash at the government because of some of its actions lately. Just like in the NCR, a lot of the NCR citizens have shown that they're not happy with what's going on in the Mojave. The soldiers talk about it, and we see that people in the Mojave don't really want the NCR there either. Some parts appreciate it, but most of the time they're kind of just like, we're not super happy about you being there. The taxes are kind of heavy, et cetera, et cetera. And I think that that's kind of how the Middle East is feeling with the U.S. right now. We've been there for so long at this point. So it's just a really interesting metaphor. There's another word that I'm looking for. I just can't come up with it.
It's like
illusion, maybe?
Pardon?
An illusion, maybe?
Yeah, it's interesting to think about. But I think, with that being said, we don't really know anything else. But I think that is going to be a wrap for us. We've had a good talk. I think our conversation's kind of dying down for today. But
I'm tired.
Yeah, I think we're all very tired. Somehow we're all still hungover from New Year's. I'm kidding. We're not really that big wimps. But anyways, remember to tweet your questions at us at Holotapes Weekly. Comments on this video, subscribe, like, comment, yada 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 on YouTube when this comes up. I want to mention something before we go. We need more volunteers to come on and be a guest on here. We have Monty on all the time, who's great, but we used to be able to bring in new people just about every week. We haven't had that as much. So what we're going to do is we're going to put up an ad. Not really an ad. We're going to put up a post on the Fallout subreddit, r/Fallout. And what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to comment on that. And then if we're, give yourself a little description, et cetera, why you want to be on. And then if we like you, you're going to need to PM us your name, your age, and the general location. You can just give us the nearest big city. We don't want your actual address, obviously. And make sure that you have a good mic if you want to do this. We've had a couple of people come on who we unfortunately couldn't have on because of their mic quality. So that's that. So I just want to thank you all for listening, and I hope you have a very Merry Christmas. Oh, also, weekly dollar. Your weekly dollar. Remember to give to cancer research. That's the last thing I wanted to say. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
I don't want to set the world on fire. I just want to start